I'm here with Pat and Nick from Here Now, and they're here to talk with us. It's my first interview in quite a while, so I'm a little nervous. So thank you so much, guys, for for joining me here on Beyond the Static.
We are psyched to be here, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Not a problem. So let's get started with so tell me a little bit about the band, like what you think that most of your fans would like to know. I know that that there's a bit of that you've had lineup changes and things like that. So how did we get from the beginnings of Here Now to where we are now?
So the band started 2016, and it was something. I always played guitar in bands, and I always kind of thought it'd be cool to sing, but never thought I'd be able to step up to do it. So Here Now is just me trying to make music kind of like in the direction I've always wanted to. I want to say uncompromising, but just like follow the direction I've always wanted to follow, and get people on board with that. So that's how the band started. Was I just wanted to create things rather than I wanted to create moods and vibes and feels rather than just riffs. And we put out an EP in 2016 or 2017. I don't remember. I think 2016. We played some shows. It was rad. The creative end started to fall off with the support in the band at the time. So I found my way into Nick, and then Mikhail and James as well. And everything's been rad since. We put out a record. Dilate, it just came out in December. We were supposed to be playing a lot of shows to support that record right now. We're actually supposed to be in DC on Friday, but during this pandemic, a lot of it's gotten canceled. So yeah, that's the quick version of the last 4 years.
Nice. Well, now that you've touched on that, the pandemic, I was going to ask about that. A lot of bands are going the streaming route, doing things, a lot of stream performances and things like that. So there's like something called the Uncanceled, like music festival and things like that. Do you all have any plans for anything in that vein to keep right out?
We haven't talked about live streaming anything, and honestly, it doesn't seem something that's really interesting to me. I love all the bands that are doing it. I don't know if we have the following to support it, and our style really lends itself to something like that. I am really interested in maybe like reworking some songs and just maybe unofficially putting them out during this. So, I'm sure people are sitting around with a lot of nothing to do. So maybe, create some content that way. And like, I'm not a giant fan of the quality of a lot of the live streams. They're a lot of fun to watch, but from like a gear nerd like me, it's sometimes disappointing as far as the audio goes.
I agree.
Okay. So Nick, why don't we talk to you a little bit? How did your journey with the band start?
It's actually kind of a funny story because I was playing in some bands, and the one band, we were actually looking for a practice space and like a new studio to rehearse out of. And one of my best friend's girlfriend at the time, who is Pat's sister, he was like, hey, talk to these guys. They're looking at like splitting their space. They're looking for someone to help share their space with to cut down on the monthly cost. And reached out, met Pat. All the other members were still in the band and all that stuff. That was the first time we met. And then just through my friend and his girlfriend, met Pat a few other times. And when Pat launched Here Now, I was honestly like a big fan. Like I had their shirts and, went to their shows and stuff like that. And then after everything fell out with the rest of the guys, he messaged me one day just like asking to jam. Went well. And then we reached out to some other people and rehearsed with other people, just trying to bring them into the band, fill in the other spots. My roommate, one of my best friends from when I was a little kid, who plays bass, he came out and jammed with us, and that's James, who's in the band now, and that worked out. And then we brought on Mikhail, who Pat knew, and everything just kind of clicked and happened from there.
All right, sounds like
been sweet sense.
Yeah, nice organic story.
Yeah. Life finds a way.
Yeah. So let's talk about the album a little bit, Dilate, that just came out. It's a great album, by the way. I'm a big fan of it.
Thank you.
And I really like this. I love the EP, and I love the steps that you took since the EP. Was there any would you say there was any particular theme? Like, I noticed somewhat of a common theme between like The Noise and Save You. Like, is there any other like common themes running through the album?
Yeah, there's a few unrelated themes, I'd say. Nick knows why I'm laughing. Yeah, so I was definitely going through a lot personally when I was putting together some of those songs. Some of it being with parting ways with the guys who were on the first EP, making my way to finding guys the second EP. So I definitely had a lot of stuff to sort out mentally and personally, and made its way into the songs. Some of the stuff is inspiration from some books I was reading at the time. And then a couple of the songs, I was really obsessed with the movie Interstellar. So a couple of the songs are just straight, just me kind of looking at a few parts of that movie under a microscope.
Interesting. So what about that movie like really like struck your fancy?
I don't know, man. I find that maybe I really take a liking to movies, or just when I go in blind, I end up liking movies best that way. And my wife wanted to put it on. I had never seen it before, didn't know anything about it, and I just fell in love with it. I don't know, maybe it was the mood I was in, maybe it's that I thought it was gonna be something completely different, but I loved it. And I watched it so many times in the period that we were writing the record, and a lot of parts really captivated me, and I was creating, and so that just ended up being a part of the creative process.
Okay.
And it's funny because James, Nick's roommate who plays bass, he still hasn't seen it, and he refuses to watch it, and it drives me crazy.
I had a friend like that who refused to watch one of my favorite movies. And it did drive me crazy. I snuck it in on him through a YouTube. I was like, yeah, watch this clip real quick. It was a YouTube clip of the opening of the movie. And he was like dying. And he was like, I got to see this movie. And I was like, no, you don't. You said you never watch it.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm going to have to tie him down or something. I'll trip him one day.
Right.
We'll get him there.
Well, another like song specifically that I was kind of curious about was the song "Wait" off of the album, because it was kind of like an unexpected like stripped down acoustic. Like I didn't see that coming. So like, what was kind of the inspiration behind that?
"Wait," I started writing as I was coming to the realization that the first form of Here Now wasn't working out. So the guys I was with, as I mentioned, they kind of just weren't in the headspace to create anymore. And so as with that being frustrating, I needed to keep creating, and it wasn't working in a group setting. So I started writing Wait, basically about, it's about wanting to be there for somebody, what they're going through, saying, they'll go away, but you're going to be there when they come back. And I thought about adding like a full band behind it, but I thought it seemed appropriate to leave it just my boys and guitar. We added like some knickknacks to it. Mikhail, some really cool leads, and what is that instrument called? The glockenspiel. That was fun. We recorded that just on a whim. I think a couple of takes, and it just happened. But we were in debate whether that song would make it to the record. We brought a whole lot of songs to the studio, and Mike Watts, who helped produce the record, and Frank, they thought it would break up the record night, so it stayed.
Nick, do you have any like favorite songs on the record that like you always push to get like played at shows, or maybe ones that didn't make the record that you're really like stoked about?
It's been kind of weird because like like half the maybe not half, but a lot of the songs, like when I started jamming with Pat, he already had like the ideas for them and them together, and then we kind of like worked with those, and those songs became something. And then a lot of the other songs like just were ideas Pat had that just became completely other different things. And it's interesting because, and Pat will attest to this too, was like there are so many songs that we like went into the studio recording like this is going to be the single, or this is going to be like a favorite and all this other stuff. And a lot of the songs that I've been getting the most plays, or ones that people request at shows, or people that come up to us and say like, oh, I love this song, are like kind of the least ones that we thought would be most popular. There's a song on the album, Light Feet, which is another song that we wrote. And that song we struggled with for a while, for getting to like a point where we were ready to record it. And we went into the studio, not sure if we were actually going to record it, if it was going to make the album. It was the last song we recorded too, and kind of came out cool. And we're like, we think this fits on the album. And the reaction from all the fans and stuff around that song has been extremely positive. Everybody loves that song. And that one just came out of left field. But there's a lot though that are just like super fun to play, like The Noise. I love playing The Noise live. That song's great and everyone loves that one. Dilate, and we're just working that into the set now because that was the first single, and that's tons of fun to play and people really enjoy seeing that. So it's been cool. Every song on the album kind of has like a different story behind it and kind of a different thing to everybody. So it's fun seeing how everybody interprets the album in different ways.
Well, since you brought up the single, so did you guys decide that you wanted that was going to be the single like before or after you decided that was going to be the album title?
It's kind of funny because that song we struggled with for a while. Like that song was like, it was tough. Pat had like this like idea for it, and he kept, from the moment we started jamming, that was like one of the first things that we started working on, and we just chipped away at it little bits, and then eventually got to that point. And then I think it was when we recorded it and we sat back and listened to it and heard how it sounded tracked and everything together, that we were like, this is it. And then it kind of clicked too, that we're just like, this needs to be like the album title and stuff as well too. It kind of just all came from that. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, Nick and I were bouncing around names for the record for a while before our pre-production demos were finished. We thought about splitting the record up into 2 EPs. Kind of like, I think the idea was like some of the spacier songs on one and some of the heavier, hard-hitting stuff on the other. We had a lot of names, but then, yeah, like Nick said, once we demoed out and had like a good, something we can listen back to of Dilate, I think then we're like, oh yeah, this is Dilate. That's the no-brainer now.
Okay. So, with the video, how did you guys see that? Like, how was that presented to you as like the theme that's going to fit with the song? Like, what kind of inspired that direction to go with the video and all that? And how would you say that really represents the song?
Well, the video was planned out completely different, right, Nick? We had a whole lot of ideas. But the Dilate itself is kind of the inspiration behind that song. Is it's about that feeling you get when you see something or hear something that's like really cool, really magical, really just inspiring to you, and it gives you that feeling, maybe like goosebumps. You get the chills when you hear something or see something, like that kind of warm feeling you get. And I was trying to, as hard as I can, that's why Dilate was really hard to put together, is like capture that through the music and the vocal delivery and everything as best I could. So the video, I wanted to kind of go along with that, because never in the song do I mention what it's about. Never in the song do I say like, directly say I want you to feel inspired from this. So I just try to make things that I think are inspiring, or we try to put together things that we think are inspiring and make you get that feeling with the creepy chills, that warm feeling. So the video, it was a whirlwind. It came together. I think we shot it in 6 hours, maybe less.
I think it was about 6 hours. Yeah.
And it was nothing like we planned, but it's everything we wanted, I think.
Yeah.
I guess being happy with the final product is all that that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that being said,
yeah, absolutely. And creating something with friends, that's what's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel you on that. What so like what were your first thoughts when you first heard the whole record together, when you guys heard the whole thing as a package?
It was pretty wild, I would
Nick,
say. I mean, 'cause it was just like such a journey that this had been, from, I mean, it's even a crazier journey for Pat, but for me, even joining into the band where was Pat and I jamming for a while, and then bringing in other people and chipping away at these songs and all these, 11 tracks that started from ideas that Pat had or riffs that he wrote. And then, how about we slow this down, speed this up, and, all of that. But then going in and we recorded the album. It was like 3 months, I guess, of us going to the studio, which is out in Long Island. And 3 months of us going out there and recording like little bits or working on the mixes. And then months and months and months after that with like the mixes and masters and stuff and getting them to the point. We had a practice space in the Italian market in Philly, and we would practice for a while, and then we'd go out and we sit in our guitar player Mikhail's car, because his car had the best speakers, and listen to it collectively. And we'd all make notes about what we want to change and do this and that. And I don't know, we did that so many times, just like through all the different mixes and masters for the album. And every time we just like, it was a cool experience. All of us like sitting in the car, and like we'd be like, it was like listening to a band that we loved almost. Like it was kind of like a band that we loved was putting out a new album. We were all listening to it collectively. Like we were excited. Like this was like, it was awesome, and we like loved it, and we were like, having fun and stuff, like listening back to it. It was definitely a cool experience. It was the whole process, even though it took way longer than we anticipated, it was still very, very cool. And we were super happy with the final product that came out of the studio and what's out now.
Awesome. So the new album was self-released. You guys are unsigned as of now, correct? Or am I mistaken about that?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So
no, we are completely independent right now.
Do you have any plans of signing with anyone, or is there anything? I guess what I'm wondering is, like, when that time comes, like, what a band in your position, like, what do you guys look for? What would you be like? What would draw you to a specific label or management company or something like that to take it to that next step?
I think for us, the one thing that we need, or that we'd be looking for the most, is just booking, someone to help us with that. Just distribution would be nice, and like some PR would help. But after that, we have vinyl coming out. We did the record ourselves. We really, all it is just getting it to more ears. So that's it. When the opportunity, if the opportunity presents itself, that's what we'd want. We'd just some help getting it out there more, because we are definitely stoked on it. But the challenge is like, all right, how do we get it to the people who would also be stoked on it?
Right, just the basic stuff. So I know we talked a little earlier about the COVID thing and how it's changing the music industry, or just kind of shutting everything down. On the other side of this, do you see there being any like changes to like the industry and how things go, or do you think it's just going to go straight back to like status quo?
Personally, I think everything is going to be really different after this. You and I, Dwayne, we work in service industry, work in restaurants.
Yeah.
I'm scared to see what that's going to be like when this is over. As far as music goes, I think this is going to do some really cool things in music. I think platforms are going to open up online for people to have better performances sonically and to get the audiences there for that. And I can't imagine how seeing a show will change much. Maybe they might have to adjust capacities for a while. I think eventually go back to normal. But hopefully they can put something in place to support all the guys who do this full time that don't have regular jobs like we do, and they're off right now making nothing. So hopefully something will happen that will help support those guys. That's all I see. What about you, Nick, Dwayne?
Yeah. Any thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, kind of the same with what Pat was saying. I don't really know what's going to happen after this, especially with the music industry. But the one thing I do know is it's going to be different. It's going to for sure be different. I think the music industry is going to look at music a little bit different after it kind of being gone for like this long, and everything. I think that there's going to be some changes, some redirection in different aspects of the music industry and the way music is presented and the way music formats operate. But I don't know. I don't know how, but I'd be shocked if nothing changed, because this is like an unfortunate, but I think an eye-opening thing for a lot of people, as far as, for example, like I think a lot of companies are more and more now realizing that their employees can work from home. So they're like cutting back on office spaces, and they're like, the employees are now being like full-time remote. So I kind of picture in a similar sense, something of that aspect going towards the music industry. Obviously not like, the same thing, but it's going to change the way that like music is kind of works, and the way the shows are presented, and, the way bands are kind of handled. At least I hope.
Yeah, I could totally see a situation where like, not that touring's not important, but like streaming is also like utilized as an additional tool to promoting music, like live streaming and stuff like that. So I do have one more question for you. It's kind of a random question. It's been on my mind since the day I found out about this new band. Why the backslash?
Go ahead, Pat.
Well, because the whole name of the band is here. I think here now, here coming now. That neither of them mean what the intention of the band was to mean. It's to mean being in this moment, not in yesterday, not in tomorrow, not on your cell phone, at what you're missing or what you could else be doing. It's like being right here, right now, and experiencing the experience, and not having to look back on it on Instagram and remember it was cool or convince yourself it was cool. It's kind of like just being present. So here / now, this. So I think I had a few ideas for names. Sometimes I'm like, fuck, is this name cool? Or is this name right? But I'm happy with it, and it's different for sure, I think.
All right, I can dig it.
The publications, like the websites you go to put your music online, they'll always give us the hardest fucking time because of the /. So that's the only time I regret it.
Yeah, I can imagine. but at least it gets up there, you know. So I want to thank you guys, Pat and Nick, for taking your time out to come and talk to me. You know, I know we all got to make some time and we all got other lives to live, but I really do appreciate you guys being my first interviews, and God knows how long. Um, do you want to, before we go, take a minute to tell everyone where they can find you online, social media, where they can find the album, stream it, and all those things?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find our music here/now on Spotify, iTunes, anything that streams music. Instagram here.now.band, Facebook here now band, our website herenowband.com. That's where you'll find like updates to where we're going to be playing, new music, etc. And hopefully, when this is all through, we look forward to seeing everybody healthy and safe.
Okay, and of course,
And thanks for having us, man. This was fun.
anytime, man. And of course, I'll have links to all of those on the Beyond the Static website. So you know, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out when all of this is over. And you know, I don't know if you have any shows planned already, booked in the future for when this is over that you want to tell anybody about, or is it all we wait until it's over to start booking again?
No, I think all the stuff we had planned, I think, is going to get wiped out by COVID. So, and I feel like it's going to be a real struggle booking the next shows when this is over, because everybody's going to be trying to make up shows. So we'll push, and we're looking forward to it. So yeah, we're excited to see when we see everybody.
All right. Well, maybe we can talk again after this all over and see where you're at.
Awesome.